It's not your fault.
Don't fuck with me, all right? Don't fuck with me, Sean, not you.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Sometimes a performer leaves a mark so indelible it's impossible to erase them from your mind. Like Robin Williams. Think of his zany extraterrestrial Mork on the Mork and Mindy show, or the wisecrack Amina DJ in Good Morning Vietnam. That role did win him the first of 4 Oscar nominations. His career wasn't just as an actor, but also for doing incredible voices, such as the cabaret-style genie in Disney's cartoon Aladdin. His interpretation of the genie was surely one of the greatest voice-over performances of all time. No matter if it was a live-action film or animation, many of his performances became utterly unforgettable and utterly unique. After having amazing hits such as Mrs. Doubtfire and Jumanji in the mid-90s, Williams turned to making more mid-budget films, with much darker sides. This did lead him to playing a killer in Christopher Nolan's Insomnia, or even a loner who becomes obsessed with a family in 1 Hour Photo. It was a remarkable turnaround from an acting perspective after years of slightly excessive sweet roles in films such as Patch Adams and What Dreams May Come. All of this kind of created a parallel between Robin Williams' early career as a stand-up comedian, where he could get really dark, but even then he was seeking to bring that darkness into movies. "The only way to spin my career differently is to play a serial killer," he said, citing his role in Christopher Hampton's 1996 film The Secret Agent, an adaptation of the Joseph Conrad novel. "He was an alchemist who made bombs, an effort to make a character non-human. I've looked for them, but most people send me positive characters. I'm not afraid to play them because it helps." And when you hear that, it does kind of foreshadow some of his real-life problems fighting several addictions. Despite all these devils and ups and downs, Williams has touched hearts all over the world, and that's why it's important to look back at his career and celebrate his work. This video is the 3rd video in a 3-part retrospective on Robin Williams. The first 2 videos focused on his career in the 70s all the way through the late 90s. This video will focus on the 2000s until his final project. So, without any further ado, Robin Williams forever in our hearts. The early 2000s definitely started with a much more serious tone in Williams' projects. The first project of that decade that I'd like to highlight is the 2002 movie 1 Hour Photo, which was a psychological thriller and shows Robin Williams as a lonely photo technician at a 1 Hour Photo place in a local store. Living alone with no friends or love life, he lives only for his work. Over the years, he has grown obsessed with the Yorkin family, whose photos he has developed for many years. When he sees evidence of Will Yorkin being unfaithful, coupled with a threat to his position, his mental state starts to flip and tip over the edge. This was definitely an against-type performance for Williams, which did grab the attention from the media. This is actually what led him the same year to act in Christopher Nolan's Insomnia, alongside Al Pacino. Williams played the antagonist in that movie, deviating once again from the comedic roles which he was earlier known for. Regarding his decision to cast Williams, Nolan said that he felt that audiences would come away feeling like they have seen a new Robin Williams. Even though this movie is really amazing and one of Nolan's finest, I feel that because it wasn't as glamorous as his most known projects such as Inception or Interstellar, this somewhat indie-style feeling drama has often remained under the radar. Even with that, Robin Williams did continue working on more serious films. On a lesser-known fact, Robin Williams was a big fan of the Harry Potter books, and when they started casting for the various roles, he had shown interest in portraying the role of Rubeus Hagrid, but was rejected by director Chris Columbus due to the fact that he had a British-only edict. In 2004, Williams starred in a science fiction drama that has an amazing concept and the premise of the film, but staggers terribly under the weight of its own ideas. The film takes place in a setting where memory implants make it possible to record entire lives. Williams plays the role of Alan Hackman, who is a cutter of memories, editing footage from immoral dead people into pleasing narratives. Troubled by his childhood memories and having a difficult relationship with a bookstore clerk, an ex-cutter approaches Alan and offers $500,000 for footage of a prominent technology manager. Refusing the offer, he tries to destroy the footage but finds out dark secrets about his own past. This is the kind of movie that, as a series or story, ideas is fascinating, but combined with poor dialogue and a messy story structure makes it somewhat of a messy movie. Once again, the movie being flawed doesn't take away from the fact that Robin Williams once again delivers, and maybe even shows that his dramatic roles may be even more amazing than his comedic work, even though he's more remembered for the latter. In 2005, Williams acted in a film called The Big White that is probably forgotten by many people. Many reviews said that Robin Williams' performance seemed slushy but ultimately likable. During a later interview, Robin Williams admitted that he had started drinking again after 20 years of sobriety during the filming of The Big White. This led him to going back to rehab and was a difficult time in his life. Even though this movie seems to have a bad connotation in his life, it still remains one of those bad, good movies that do need to be seen at least once. The film tells the story of a travel agent named Paul Barnell, played by Williams, who finds a body in a dumpster that, unbeknownst to him, was left there by mafia hitmen. Heavily in debt and attempting to find a cure for his wife Margaret's apparent Tourette's syndrome, he stages a disfiguring animal attack with the body in order to cash in his missing brother's life insurance policy, for which a corpse is required. In 2006, Robin Williams acted in Man of the Year, which was a return to his comedy roots and is a comedy satire where a talk show host of a comedy political talk show, based loosely on the real-life persona of Jon Stewart, after an offhand remark, prompts 4 million people to email their support for him to run for president. He actually becomes elected and heads straight to the Oval Office, but soon after moving in, it is revealed a computer glitch mistakenly awarded him the presidency. This makes him face a tough decision of remaining in office or returning back behind the microphone. Critics gave this movie bad reviews, stating that this movie seemed conflicted as to whether it was a comedy or a thriller romance in the second half, which really confused its audiences. Even though this movie wasn't good, it was a return for Williams to comedy, and this prompted another favorite of mine, which is his character of Teddy Roosevelt in Night at the Museum, which was released in 2006. This movie was based on the 1993 children's book, The Night at the Museum. 2 sequels came out of the original film in 2009 and 2014. This movie tells the story of dreamer Larry Daly, who thinks he's destined for something big, but his imaginative ideas never pay off, and in desperate need of a job, he accepts to be a security guard of the National History Museum. During his watch, Larry makes a startling discovery. Thanks to the unleashing of an Egyptian curse, the museum's animals spring to life after the building closes. Williams' character of Theodore Roosevelt is a wax model statue of Roosevelt and his horse, Little Texas. In this movie, Robin Williams isn't the main character, but he is a pivotal character in the story as he tells Larry about the tablet of Akhmen-Ra and how it's the reason for all the chaos and inanimate objects coming to life. After Night at the Museum, he played another notable character in another film called The Big Wedding, where he played Father Moynihan, where Williams plays a priest who says all kinds of unpriestly things. Unfortunately, the movie falls flat on its face with a lot of humor, with very little of it being actually funny. Although the cast was filled with excellent actors, it just felt as if none of them were really making much effort throughout the story. It's not the best movie of his, but it was still nice to see him coming back to his pure comedy roots, and sort of refreshing after seeing him in all these dramatic roles. In 2013 and 2014, he made a huge comeback on the small screen acting in a series called The Crazy Ones, which was an American sitcom where he was starring alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar. This was the first time in 31 years since Mork and Mindy ended that he was a regular on a TV show. The Crazy Ones tells the story of a larger-than-life advertising genius, Simon Roberts, played by Williams, whose unorthodox methods and unpredictable behavior would get him fired if he weren't the boss. This is a father-daughter tale where even though he's the head of the agency and his clients are important to him, the love for his daughter Sydney will overtake precedence over anything else. As his partner and exact opposite, and eager to make a name for herself, but also too busy parenting her father, together they set the advertising world on fire. This was an extremely good show, which was truly a remarkable comeback to everything we've ever loved about Robin Williams. Unfortunately, the show got cancelled after one season. He did act in a couple of other movies and voiced some animations, but on August 11th, 2014, Williams sadly committed suicide. Neither alcohol nor illegal drugs were involved. Before his suicide, he had been struggling with depression and anxiety. His autopsy revealed that he had diffuse Lewy body dementia and had been recently diagnosed with Parkinson's. Family members revealed that in the year before his death, Williams had experienced a sudden and prolonged spike in fear and anxiety, depression and insomnia, including memory loss, paranoia, and delusion. We also know that his alcohol problem never really subsided, and even though he admitted himself into rehab multiple times over the years, this plagued him until mere months before his death in 2014, where he had admitted himself into the Hazeldean Foundation Addiction Treatment Center. He did mention in a 2010 interview that even though he relapsed into alcohol over the years, he never went back to cocaine, stating that there was no bit of him thinking, "Ooh, let's go back to useless conversations until midnight, waking up at dawn feeling like a vampire on a day pass." Many people like to focus on how and why he committed suicide, but even though I mention it in this video, since I have to because we are looking at his whole life from childhood until his death, I hope that we can kind of look past his untimely death and remember all the movies and laughs that he gave to the world. For me, I will always reminisce the laughs that he gave me as a child watching him on the big screen, and in some ways he's given to all of us on earth the greatest treasure ever. That is the possibility to rewatch his series, movies, interviews, and comedy specials over and over again. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video series. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Leave me a comment too and let me know what your favorite Robin Williams project is. Have a great day, and in Robin Williams fashion, I'll end this video by saying, Nanu Nanu.